During your meeting with President Xi, the topic of encouraging more Chinese companies in Georgia is also high on the agenda. So what would be some of the advice that you would give to those Chinese companies who are willing to expand their footprint in the country?
Today we had a business forum. I brought here Georgian businesses, Georgian companies. And when it comes to Chinese companies, I made a big presentation about Georgia, about the country, according to World Bank's ease of doing business criteria, we are number 7 in the world. We are the 3rd least tax burden countries in the world. We have very low taxes, low bureaucracy, low corruption, transparency. We're number 1 in terms of budget transparency, for example. We're one of the most freest economies in the world. We are 15th most, freest economy in the world. So I think it all gives more attractiveness to Georgia. I said that earlier. I said that Georgia has free trade agreements with more than 2.3 billion consumers market. With the European Union, for example, we have zero tax regime, free trade agreement with the European Union. So, for example, hypothetically speaking, if Chinese companies, manufacturing companies, or other companies would, for example, build their branches or factories or assembly lines, they could easily, without any tax barriers, export their goods to the European market without any tax. This is one thing. Other things I already mentioned about other attractiveness which Georgia has. It's a very pro-business government. My government is very pro-business, very open. So we provide maximum support and maximum comfort for Chinese companies.
Well, Mr. Prime Minister, why not take maybe a sip of tea so that we can continue?
Yeah, okay.
So, speaking of tea, there's this very special tea in Georgia drank by local people. It's called Liu tea, which is named after a Chinese tea expert who brought tea to the region in the 19th century. And I think that has shown this an ancient cultural link between the two countries. And also during your visit this time, and a very important MOU was signed on the Chinese language education in the secondary and primary school in Georgia. So what's your take on this traditional friendship as well as people-to-people exchanges and cultural exchanges before they're enhanced?
Well, here's another example which you just mentioned, which demonstrates that China and Georgia have a long history of people-to-people contacts and friendship. And of course, we are very proud that we have a special place in Georgia near the Black Sea.
Right.
There's a house of the gentleman who brought tea to Georgia. And of course, we're proud of this history. We're proud of this legacy.